Welcome to the Swolenormous Procast with your host, Papa Swolio.
What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the Swolenormous Procast, the first Procast in the new place. It's been a while, and a lot of stuff has been going on. Obviously, most of you are part of the Swole fam. You could learn more, swolenormousx.com. But I moved, so now Mama Swolio and I are in a house, and it's been awesome. It's been awesome. It's hot as balls outside. Summer is here, and a lot of things have been going on in the world, especially in the world of tech, in the world of Bitcoin. And I want to talk today. I want to just jump right in to talk about a concept that really relates a lot to fitness and to all the things that we talk about with fitness with the 7 pillars of Swolenormous. Now, for those of you that are just coming to this content from the outside and you're not aware of Swolenormous X and you're not aware of the Swole fam, you could learn more over at swolenormousx.com. But the 7 pillars of Swolenormous are the foundational principles that the Swole fam follows in order to execute a long and healthy life and lifestyle for ourselves, for our families, and for those around us. So it's all about time preference. Now, for people that have a high time preference, meaning a high time preference means that it's pretty much instant gratification. High time preference, it's a little bit counterintuitive, but a high time preference means that you are focused on the short term. Okay, you want things now. You want things tomorrow. You want things Amazon Prime. And things in this life, the things worth having, they don't come Amazon Prime. They don't come instantaneously. You don't build muscle overnight. You don't lose fat overnight. You don't make massive returns with investments. I'm not talking about swing trades and day trading bullshit and all the shitcoinery that's going on in cryptocurrency. I'm talking about investing, long-term investing. Now, if you're familiar, and we've talked about Bitcoin many times, or we're going to be talking about it frequently moving forward, because my passion is focused on Bitcoin in terms of investments. And this is where there's a quote I want to read that really struck home with me. And when it comes to having high time preference versus low time preference. So a low time preference means that you are thinking long-term, that you are patient, that you are making decisions today for the future. Delayed gratification. Instant gratification, I want it now. Delayed gratification, I'll put the effort in now and I'll have those returns come in the future. And that's what fitness is all about. And when I first started training, when I first started exercising and eating healthy and trying to bulk, I was always thinking long term. This is what I wanted to do. It doesn't matter how long it took. So I was doing what I needed to do today in order to get that outcome in the future. It was all about that outcome, not the time it would take to get there. So, for example, you've heard the term HODL, hold on for dear life. And that is a term that originated in the Bitcoin community because you buy Bitcoin and you hold it, and it will appreciate over time because it is an absolute finite, scarce asset that has appreciated 150 to 200% every year since its inception. So holding on, just investing, that's the difference between investing in something, like investing in your health, and investing in a stock or a company or Bitcoin. That's what an investment is. Trading means you are looking for that quick buck. You are looking for that quick turnaround, that short term. Now that could be 2 months, that could be 1 month, that could be 1 day. It's very risky, and most people lose their ass at it. It's kind of like the house always wins in Vegas. So it's really a losing battle, and very few people should actually look into that kind of activity. It's not my bag. I like to simplify my life, simplify and amplify. I pick the valuable and the most valuable asset and I invest in that. And then boom, I just hold and I focus on making more fiat and building my business and focusing on my family, focusing on my health and the things that need my attention on the day-to-day, following the 7 pillars like I mentioned before. So this world is all about instant gratification. Like I said, Amazon Prime, Netflix, you want things now. I want change now. I want these answers now. Give it to me now. People don't want to put in the hard work. The same thing goes with investments. It's not just fitness. The same thing goes with investments. Same thing goes with social media. Same thing goes with packages. I mean, we all like getting packages fast, But there's a part of me now that longs for, hey, your package will come next week. It's like, cool. I'll get to look forward to it for a week. It teaches me patience. And I think we all want things now. When I order something, I want it now. But I appreciate when things take longer than normal because it teaches us, and it teaches me how to be disciplined and patient because I have no other choice. So I have to be patient. So if you're going into your investments with your body, if you're going into your investments with your future financially, and you have a low time preference, that means you are going to be able to weather all the volatility that will come from your investment. And in the case of Bitcoin, for example, I've been in Bitcoin since 2017, and everyone said that it was a bubble, that it was going to pop, and it went down. Of course, it went up to like 17 and a half thousand, and then it came back down, kind of fluctuated between 10 and 20 for a while. Then early 2020, you had that temporary dip, and then of course the surge after the halvening, up until now, where it peaked at around 64 or so, and now at the time of recording this, it's floating around the high 30s, low 40s. But if you sold at the high point in 2017, 2018, let's say you sold at, I don't know, when it started to go back down, let's say you sold at 15, sold at 14, you sold at 17 or 20, whatever it was, because, oh my God, it's going back down, it's over. You sold. What if you held on to that? You'd have 3x today. So the real lesson here is with an asset like Bitcoin that is absolutely scarce. It's infinitely scarce. It is getting scarcer and scarcer by the day. People are day trading it. Sure. People are investing in, or I would say throwing their money away into Ethereum, into Dogecoin, and all that garbage that literally nowhere close to the technicals, nowhere close to the community, nowhere close to the decentralization and all the benefits that make Bitcoin the hardest money that has ever existed. If you invest in Bitcoin for the long term, you have a low time preference, you are going to weather that volatility. Yes, Bitcoin is volatile. You could also make the argument that Bitcoin is not volatile because it is a finite asset. This is just going through price discovery. This is what happens with a new asset class. This is price discovery. This fluctuation is normal and is to be expected. The market is determining the value. And let me tell you, for the only finite, scarce asset in history, this is only going up, and it only has gone up. It has only gone up. And because the technicals are so secure, because it's decentralized, because of all the fundamentals that have been defended, that have been developed since the inception of Bitcoin, there is very, very low probability that it will ever go to zero and that it will, over time, become the global reserve currency, the global reserve store of value. It's slowly taking over the markets, and at this time, it's about 1 trillion plus. So it's about the 10th of the market cap of gold. So it's coming. It's coming for all of us. And in this day and age, everything is exponential. If you've noticed, things are moving faster and faster. So I was listening to some conversations earlier today on Bitcoin, and people map the growth of internet from inception to like mainstream adoption till today. And that curve is really fast. The internet matured really, really quickly. But of course, there were busts. Remember the dot-com bubble in the late 90s. And then, of course, we had the housing market, but that's not the tech. But yeah, kind of like the tech revolution again, once YouTube came out in 2006 and you had Twitter coming out and Instagram. So there's many different, the internet is different than social media. So now it's different today than it was before. So Bitcoin is going to be exponential in that same sense, but be adopted a lot quicker than the internet was. People thought the internet was a fad. Obviously, they were wrong. So getting back to what I really want to talk about today in context with that time preference, just a quote. And this is a quote from one of my favorite series, from the Dune series. And this is from, I forget, this is the fourth or fifth. This is from the God Emperor of Dune. So I'm not sure. A lot of you have probably read Dune. I know there's a big movie coming out. For the first book, I don't know. I forget when that's going to come out, but this is from later in the series. And this is a quote: "In the view of infinity, any defined long-term is short-term." I'll read that one more time. "In the view of infinity, any defined long-term is short-term." I thought that was that hit home for me. That's really in line with everything that I just mentioned. Based on your perspective, depending on what your perspective is, long-term can be short-term. So for me, when I tell someone, like, they say, "Hey, how am I going to get results? I'm trying to lose weight or build muscle." Like, get ready to train for years. So for me, when you think about it, in the course of 100 years, 10 years isn't that long. 5 years isn't that long. But if you're sitting here expecting something tomorrow or next week, or you're going on a cruise in 2 weeks, oh my God, that's so long. 5 years. How could I ever do that? Oh my God, 5 years is so long. Well, if you focus on what you need to do today and you execute every single day, one day after the next, it's going to happen. That time is going anyway, right? You're going to lose that time anyway. It's going to be 5 years. It's going to be 10 years, no matter what. So if you are executing on the daily, doing what you need to do every day, you're going to have those results. But again, it's that low time preference and that perspective. So this happens when you get older. You look back and you realize, oh, those things that happened when you were 15 or 20, or if you're in your 50s or 60s, you look back when you're 30, the things that you thought in the moment were so important and so, oh my God, so awful or so amazing, or, change your life so much. You look back like, oh yeah, it's just that. And I think that's why life goes faster. You get used to living, you just get used to the passage of time, but also those new experiences and those shocks and those things that you never saw before and those things you never had to deal with before. It just becomes another thing that you deal with. Oh, I remember you start another business and you've started 3 businesses before. You start another business. It's just the process of starting a business. It's not that complicated to you. It's not really nerve-wracking. You know where you get capital from. You know how to build an audience. You know how to distribute, blah, blah, blah. You learn, you just copy, paste, repeat. Same thing with exercise or a new exercise routine or a new dieting approach. It's new, so it's a shock. You drive somewhere new, it seems like it takes a while. You're seeing all these new views and sights and roads and buildings, and it's all new. But if you drive there every day, it'd be like nothing. It seems like it would take 2 seconds. You kind of zone out and it just becomes routine. It becomes mundane. This is why money doesn't buy happiness. It can't buy happiness, because having Ferraris and Mercedes and all this stuff, it just becomes the Ferraris and the Mercedes and the stuff that you always see and you always drive. So your standards just become higher and higher, and it's all perspective. You just get used to living in luxury. You get used to having all those things. You get used to being able to just hop on a private jet and go to Cancun or go to France just because you feel like it. And then that starts to lose its luster. It might seem amazing for someone who doesn't have that, doesn't have a lot of money, but it's all relative. It's all relative. So your perspective is everything. And I thought that quote from God Emperor of Dune was something that really hits home with that perspective. So it's all about your ability to think long-term. And we're going to be talking a lot more about Bitcoin, a lot more about tech, of course, as the Procast goes. But this is something that I'm passionate about. This is something I truly believe in. And with the state of the world and the state of the United States, there is a reckoning coming, and we're in the middle of it. And a lot of people don't want to admit it because it's cognitive dissonance. You don't want to believe that the structure that you were born into is a sham. You don't want to believe that the money that is in your account is backed by absolutely nothing. It's backed by trust, and trust is disappearing every single day. Have you looked at the news recently? Have you seen what's going on in the streets? Do you recognize the divisiveness around you. This is all, it's all coming back to the money. It's all coming back to when the United States went off the gold standard in 1971. This is all coming because we don't have a good store of value. We don't have anywhere to store our value, because when you can just increase the supply, it diminishes and dilutes the trust, it dilutes the value of the human energy that goes into creating said value. And money needs to be a store of that human energy. It needs to be a store of that human production. And when the store of that human production is a house of cards, literally just paper or numbers on a screen, and there's nothing keeping the increase in that supply from increasing dramatically, it completely destabilizes the entire economy. And it's been increasingly destabilized over recent times as the majority, or a massive percentage of all the money that's ever been printed has been printed in the last 24 months. So this is something that's accelerating. And I'm looking right now at Joe Biden announcing a $6 trillion budget tomorrow that will boost federal spending by 25%. This is something that is going to ramp up. Like, expect to see some serious action in Bitcoin, and unfortunately in the crypto market. Bitcoin is not crypto. It's not crypto. It doesn't belong in the same basket as all the other coins that are trying to suckle at Bitcoin's teat. When you are investing for your family, when you're investing for your future, you are investing in the hardest, soundest money that's ever been created by humans when you invest in Bitcoin. So I am a huge proponent of Bitcoin, and the community is amazing. The community is no bullshit. The asset is rock solid, completely decentralized, and it's humans' ability to unplug from the fiat system, from the smoke and mirrors. And if the last year or two has shown you anything, it's shown you that the system is broken. It might not be able to be repaired. I think the United States is an amazing country. That's why everyone wants to come here. I think there are some major problems with I don't want to get too political in this procast. I'll save that for Red, White, and Swole. You can check out the other show, Red, White, and Swole. But all roads are leading to inflation. Hopefully not hyperinflation, but as trust erodes and as the money printer go burr, so to speak, it's only going to destabilize and increase the wealth disparity. So extremely important for you to be vigilant, for you to be aware of these risks. And we'll cover some more concepts and content about Bitcoin and about the movings of tech in future upcoming episodes. So thank you so much for subscribing to the Swolenormous Procast. Of course, available everywhere: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Google Podcasts, or Music, whatever they do over there. So make sure you check it out. And if you want to learn more about joining the Swole fam, check out Swolenormousx.com. We have awesome stuff inside Swole TV. Of course, lots of training, nutrition, meditation, yoga, and so much more. All of it over at Swolenormousx.com. And I'll see you real soon for the next Procast. Peace out.
We ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped, sitting high up on the throne. When my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah, we ride around this ghost. If we show up, then we still have it. Yeah, we slide around this coast. Yeah, we glowing up, but we still trapped, sitting high up on the throne. But my foes out, got the world clapping. Yeah, we vibing up in this show. So your main girl in the private section. Yeah.